Hi, my name's Shane. I use she and her pronouns, and this is the fourth session of a game of Fate of the Fairy Queen, reskin of Fate of Cthulhu from Evil Hat Games. This series was organised as part of the Gauntlet gaming calendar. If you're not familiar, the Gauntlet is an online community that plays and organises and discusses a whole lot of role-playing games with a focus on indie and story games and OSR games, although I really don't know anything about those ones. You'd have to talk to someone else. Um, I'll ask the players to introduce themselves and their characters. Oh, sorry, I should tell you how to find the Gauntlet. If you want to find out more about the Gauntlet, please head to gauntlet-rpg.com or check out at Gauntlet. At Gauntlet RPG. Well, is that right on Twitter? Can't believe I messed that up with the community manager right here. Yeah, normally it's so much smoother. So I'll just go around and ask you to introduce like both yourself and your character, your names, pronouns, and just anything else that you want to tell us about you or them. Kyle, can I get you to go first?
Yes, I'm Kyle, he, they, and I'm playing Maeve, the changeling defector who has joined the human rebellion and is doing her best to help. Maybe not succeeding so much, but she's trying.
Lol.
So my name is Lowell, pronouns he, him, and I'm running Fadim Bekara, she, her, who is the punch-up artist, I suppose is the phrase for our group, maybe a little bit on that. We'll see. I wasn't here last time, so I will be discovering the joys of this along with you, listener.
Excellent. Jose.
Hi, everybody. My name is Jose. I use he, him pronouns. I'm playing Dr. Alonso Cifuentes, aka Dr. C. He is a psychiatrist living in New York City, working with a lot of people who seem to have strange delusions about Fey incursions into the real world. And he has suddenly come upon this merry group of commandos, maybe from the future, who seem to have derailed his life and taken him on a ride. And he's still trying to adapt to that new reality of we must change the future or the earth is doomed.
Excellent. Thank you. And Matt.
My name's Matt. I use any pronouns. I'm playing Shanad, also known as Bear, uses he, him pronouns. Bear is, as said previously, a commando, a rebel captain from the future, from the darkest timeline, who has traveled back to a brighter time that he is trying to lose himself in and forget the horrors of the future and all the comrades that he lost. And Dr. C is helping him do that, but Fadim is pushing him back to his warrior self because she knows what must be done, and deep down, so does Shanad. And Shanad's kind of in over his head dealing with all these high-level gangsters, and he's trying to talk a lot of smack, but we'll see if he can follow through.
All right, excellent. So just a few things to mention before we start. We are using a set of safety tools, so the lines and veils are right there in the character keeper if you need to check them. The X card and the open door are also available. Mechanics wise, make sure that you reset your fate points to your refresh value if they're lower. That happens at the start of every session. And clear any stress that you have. And just in general, remember that you clear stress at the end of a scene. So stress never follows you from one scene to the next. Do remember during play to look for opportunities to mark those timeline boxes. You can see those on the timeline track tab or on the specific like scene tabs that we use in the Keeper. You already have 2 marked. You're going to get another one for finishing this event, just sort of for free. So if you can mark 1 extra box today, that will be enough to create a favorable ripple in the timeline for you. And I expect that we will be using those ripples to alter the timeline before the end of today's session. And just lastly, if there's anything that you're still like thinking about changing on your character sheet, I'd love to get the characters into a pretty settled form by next week. You know, I'm happy for you to change stuff around, but let's try and get them like how you want them moving forward. So if there is anything on there that you're still not sure about, I'm happy to talk about that at the maybe at the end of the session, or if you want to email me between sessions, that's very welcome as well. So a little bit of a recap, especially for the benefit of Fadim. Things did not go so smoothly for you all last session. I mean, I would say they didn't go disastrously badly. But you certainly learned that mob boss Alexander Koschei is definitely aligned with the Fae, if that was at all ambiguous before. He is building a gingerbread church in an old holiday resort in the Catskills for reasons that remain somewhat unclear. You lost the mysteriously living head that you'd taken from his construction site. And you know that there are some sort of dangerous Fae hounds sniffing around out there for you somewhere. You got into a brief battle with Koschei and learned that he has an invisible fairy servant named Musadora. You learned that he is pretty tough, pretty robust. You know that he's immortal, or at least believe that he is. But you're always also able to talk and negotiate with him. And you have convinced him that you are agents of a Fae power called the Owl's Head Devil. And arranged that he will bring you, or at least some of you, to a high-stakes poker game that he and Baba Yaga will both be attending, on the pretext that you intend to kill Baba Yaga. And that's sort of off the back of some moves you've made to sort of stir up trouble between the somewhat rivalrous crime families. The poker game is coming up in a couple of nights, that same night that you expect the construction of the Gingerbread Church to reach completion. And Dr. C has also managed to contact Baba Yaga, or thinks he has, through the dreams of one of his patients, and has set up a meeting with her. I think I didn't make a good note on this, but I think it's at Central Park at midday. Does that sound right?
Washington Square.
Washington Square, sorry. I just knew it was in a park, and that was the only famous New York park I could think of.
Midday.
All right. Anything else people want to ask by way of like recap? I think that sort of brings us up to date.
Yeah, any questions, Will?
I don't think you want to know the details.
Too many, but I'll go with it. Let's go with that. Tell me what to do.
All right. So, I mean, normally when someone misses a session, I'll just hand wave it. I'm happy to do that here as just some more Fae weirdness if that works for you. But if you'd like to tell us something that Fadim has gone and done over the last, day or two, not to play out like a full scene, but maybe to, roll to create an advantage or overcome to see how well you did.
I think maybe I've gone to get like the equivalent of iron knuckles as best I can. That might be a little bit of cold iron to them if I can find anything like that, and maybe create an advantage on that basis.
Yeah, I mean, maybe that's create an advantage using resources. Does that sound right?
It does. Or crafts.
Or crafts, yeah.
Either which I have a 0 in. So
right.
We might as well go for it.
Yeah, so I think that this is what I think. Tell me if this works for you. I think that it's like a 2 opposition to just create like something pretty ratty, pretty conspicuous, pretty obvious. Or if you roll a 4 or better, something quite subtle that you can carry without being so noticeable.
Now let's give it a try.
All right.
Okay, so get my 1, 2, 3, fudge dice.
That is a -2.
Yeah.
You want to?
I think I'm not very good at this.
All right. You had an idea. It didn't pan out. You've met up with the others again. They filled you in on what's been happening. Fair enough. So let's see. The other thing I wanted to say is that I do want to keep us on track to finish this event today, just so we can finish the game as a whole in the sessions that we have. So I'm probably going to frame scenes a little harder today to keep us like on that timeline. And in that spirit, we are going to start with the four of you in Washington Square Park. I have set up a meeting Baba Yaga tab in the Keeper that we're going to set out aspects and stuff on. And because I do not know Washington Square Park at all, as we just established, I would love some help with suggestions for like one or two aspects that the park itself has. I've started us off with lots of innocent people as an aspect, but what else do you think might be a good aspect for the park? Dr. C, you suggested the park. Can I?
I suggested the park because it used to be a graveyard, and there are 20,000 people buried underneath it.
Oh,
Which is,
I think former graveyard
aspect.
is for sure an aspect. Amazing. That was so much better than I could have hoped for when I asked that question.
I thought Baba Yaga might appreciate that about it. Walking upon the corpses of 20,000 people.
Yeah.
I also tried to. I couldn't quite do it, but the aspect that we talked, the boost I had. From
what did you call the boost?
The witch is intrigued.
All right, I'll just mark that in there. Sorry, I misspelled it. And does anyone else have an aspect for Washington Square Park? If not, that's okay. Oh, sorry, Matt, were you going to say something?
I see a gathering place for avant-garde artists. I don't know how that could come into play. I'm just reading through the articles.
Avant-garde gathering place. Love it. Okay. I think that's enough for us to get started. So the four of you have arrived in Washington Square Park. Dr. C, can you tell us, like, what is it like? Like, is it a big park? Is there lots of trees, lots of open space? Like, what do we see?
So it's winter, right? Did we establish that it was winter? Yeah. So there are trees. A lot of it's paved. There is an area in the south that's just little chess tables. A lot of people playing chess. There's a dog run in Washington Square Park. There's that central fountain, and then the arch that lets off to Fifth Avenue. And there's lots of people milling about, and there are benches. And I didn't establish in the communique with Baba Yaga how she would find us or recognize us. But Dr. C has brought a big book of like Russian folk tales. It's very noticeable. Let's put it that way. So maybe he's thinking that will be the tip off for her that it's us.
All right. So I want to say that on the way here, you had to like lose some tails. Maeve, you were probably the one that noticed that Koschei had sent some goons to follow you around. But you were able to give them the slip. You're an experienced infiltrator. Now that you've arrived here, I mean, you certainly know what Baba Yaga looks like, or her real name is Sophia, or her legal name in America is Sophia Onioni. There's been photos of her in the paper, especially with rumors that there's about to be a war breaking out in the Russian mafia. But I think you're all probably surprised to see that right in the middle of the plaza, like right in that fountain, there is a modestly sized hut that sits on chicken legs. And before the hut is a large mortar and pestle big enough for a person to climb inside. And standing by the door of the hut are a couple of, besuited men who appear to be, goons or guards of some kind. So what do you do?
Wow.
Yeah, wow. I didn't know she was going to bring the hut, man. This is cool.
And I guess you see that like people in the park do not seem to be noticing that there's this huge fairy tale hut right in the middle of their park. They're just going about their business.
Got it. So I guess we should, she has shown up for the meeting in style. It seems like we should go in. And
They'll probably search us on the way in. Do we want one or two of us to hang out wait outside with weapons?
yeah, maybe Maeve. That might be a good one for you. Because we don't want anyone being knifed in the kidneys or shot in the head right away. uh, so that might be a good idea. And you could take the goons out if necessary. But I'm thinking this is going to be, and you folks tell me if I'm wrong, a straightforward negotiation in good faith with the witch. Our goal is to...
Yeah, absolutely. I'm sure there's no doubt of that. I'm completely convinced.
Is that sarcasm I hear, Fadim? Goodness.
A little.
What I mean is, I'm going to offer to share information with her, or we offer to share information with her. She offers to help us out. Our objectives are aligned. Because if I got it right, what you've told me, we just have to keep Koschei from ascending to power, right? That will be disruptive.
That is correct. And I think we just, at least Sinead and I need to go with you. I think if she's powerful enough to read the truth, maybe she can tell that what we are saying is that we are from a different place.
So how transparent are we going to be? Straightforward?
I don't see any need for duplicity at this point.
Yeah, all the truth slowly. How's that?
Yep. After you, Doctor.
All right, let's do it.
All right. So I understand that the three of you are going to approach the hut, and Maeve is going to hang back, like looking for a position that you could potentially take out those guards from. So as you approach the hut, the guards sort of react. You know, they reach inside their jackets like they're ready if anything happens. But you hear a voice, a young woman's voice, call out from inside the hut, and she says, "The smell of the future has come by itself. Are you here of your own free will or by compulsion?" And the guards relax a little as she speaks.
We're here of our own free will, or maybe I'm a little bit compelled, but mostly we're here of our own free will.
So say we all.
Very good. Well, if you're looking for Baba Yaga, you'll find her that way. And the door's open. You can see this young woman sort of gesture through the arch. And as you look up, you see that there is a second hut in the same style, a little larger, just a short distance through the arch.
We'll go through.
All right. So Maeve, you sort of reposition yourself because is that right? There's going to be a couple more guards outside the second hut.
Yeah, I reposition. Try to find some place with a good view.
All right. So in the second hut, you see like a very similar scene, basically the same situation, but the woman inside looks a little older this time, sort of late middle-aged. And she calls out to you and says, "The smell of the future has come by itself. Are you here of your own free will or by compulsion?"
We're here of our own free will.
So say we all.
Very good. So she steps outside the hut to come and speak to you. And she points over further into the park. And you see, again, a third and larger hut. But this time, a dark woods has grown up around it. And she whispers to you and she says, Baba Yaga is that way. But you'll see 3 horns in her hut, and you should take them. If she gets angry with you and wants to devour you, blow the first horn softly, the second horn more loudly, and the third horn loudest of all. And then she steps back inside.
I like this. That's something I can handle.
It's your job to blow the horns if we need it.
Got it.
And will you head on to the third hut?
Oh, most certainly, right?
Yep.
I mean, Maeve, you can definitely like reposition yourself to again get the guards, but you're going to have to be closer this time. Like the trees are closer together in this dark woods that has sprouted up. You can't, sort of snipe from far away the way you could out in the park.
Right.
As you approach this hut, you see that the woman inside looks ageless, but has this sort of cracked black skin covered in boils and pustules. There's a smell of rot that hangs over the inside of the hut. She calls out to you, the smell of the future has come by itself. Are you here of your own free will or by compulsion?
Here of our own free will.
So say we all?
Come inside. We have much to discuss. And she ushers you in. There are clearly human remains, most of them quite old, but some fresher that you step over as you come inside. She gestures for you all to sit down on a somewhat crowded couch.
I imagine Dr. C is in the middle, squished between the other two.
She says that she thought there would be 4 of you.
One of our friends stayed outside. She's a bit of a hothead. We weren't sure if she would be that useful in a delicate negotiation.
Very well. Is this to be a delicate negotiation?
Oh, we hope so.
So Fadim, you definitely can see the 3 horns sitting on a table over in the little more like kitchen area behind her.
Mentally, I'm planning my run for the horns.
Right. Well, what are we negotiating about?
Well, you don't know us, or you know something of us, but we've never been properly introduced. My friends call me Dr. C. And me and my friends here, we believe that you and I and us may have a mutual interest. My friends are from the future, and they say that we are at a critical juncture where Koschei the Deathless may rise to great power, and there's a high probability that that will involve your death. We don't want Koschei to rise to power.
She coughs and a frog erupts from her mouth and just sort of hops along the floor. She says, Koschei is a fool and a thug. What fear have I of him? He'll rise to nothing.
You say that, but we are the future, and the future has come. We are farther along than even you are. Well, we cannot see forward like you. We can see the present and the back, and we know that he kills you. And he does this to gain his power. He puts his ascension by pushing himself off of your skull.
We don't know how it's achieved, and we suspect by duplicity, since clearly you are the more powerful Fae. But we do know that it will happen unless we shift the timeline.
She again
Has he-
coughs up a frog and she says, I am not a Fae. Do not,
No.
do not make that mistake.
My mistake.
Has he told you about the church?
How do you think he learned to create such a thing? I taught him. And in exchange, he taught me the magic of immortality to remove one's soul. I now have almost completed that process. So if he intends to kill me, the betrayal must come soon.
Well, we're here because this is the time and the juncture that it happens.
I should have known. And what do you intend to do?
One of the little frogs jumps into Bear's lap. All animals love Bear.
True.
Well, we would like to do what we can to stop Koschei. Let us put it this way, as has been said to us. The enemy of our enemy is our friend. That is where we are in this. You are old and powerful and tied to this world. Koschei is a warlock and a destroyer. And if I have to choose between the two, I'd rather have your boot on the throat or chicken leg.
Nice. Matt, just to let you know, if it's not obvious, you are in Baba Yaga's hut and you are negotiating with her.
The chicken leg got me there.
Yeah.
And there's a frog in your lap that
That's
came out of
true.
her throat, but loves you now.
I'm gently patting the frog.
We've convinced Koschei that we are out to end you. And he's arranged, or he believes he's arranged with us to make an attempt on your life at the poker game tomorrow night, the high stakes poker game, card game. I don't know if it's poker. We think this might be a good opportunity to turn the tables on Koschei and rid yourself of him as a nuisance once and for all.
Well, you seem to know that Koschei is immortal. How would I rid myself of him? And how would that help with the greater problem that soon this world will be annexed by the Faerie Queen?
You're very informed.
I have lived under her rule before, and I do not plan to do it again. I'm not as tied to this world as you might think.
Do you know where his soul is? Do you suspect?
Suspect. I'm sure that he keeps it close by. I don't think he has the wit to truly hide it. I'm sure he keeps it close at hand, if not in his apartment, then close by. If you want to frustrate his plans, then preventing him from completing the Gingerbread Church is my strongest advice.
Even though he may have souls to come back with, does bringing him down cause any problems for him? Is it inconvenient for him to have to go through the process of returning?
He keeps several bodies. If you were to destroy one, it would be modestly inconvenient for him to produce another, but he would still have spares.
If we were to destroy his body on the nights that the ritual is supposed to be complete, it would afford us an open window to interfere as we might.
Since you taught Koschei the magic of the gingerbread house, or the gingerbread church in this case, do you know how we might destroy it?
The church is magical, but it remains a physical structure. You could destroy it with fire, with explosives, with anything that might destroy a building of gingerbread, really.
Maybe you had the right of it. Should have burned the thing down.
Burn it down.
Well, what can we make out of this card game then if we can't bring him down as we'd have liked?
Well, if he plans to murder me, then I do not expect that I will attend, unless you have a bolder plan.
Could we bind him there? If we are working against him in some way, can we create a vulnerability to trap him? Just working with the stories, I know.
It's possible. Perhaps you are that powerful.
Perhaps.
There's a great power in foolishness, and we have an abundance of that.
Last time we attempted a direct assault on the gingerbread house, Koschei suddenly appeared to defend it, and we were outmatched.
Now that he knows you're working against him, he will certainly try to destroy it. Sorry, destroy it. Certainly try to protect it. I'm needing that second coffee. We'll take a break.
He will try to destroy us? Is that what you were going to say?
Yes, thank you. He will have imposed new defenses, both mundane and mystical, I'm sure.
Seems like it would be in your interest to give us some assistance in bypassing those defenses.
I do not see how this would be in my interests.
Weakening Koschei at the moment of his ascension?
You overestimate Koschei's power. He's a tool that the Queen will wield, but no more than that.
You may be wise, witch, but you have not seen what he will do in the years to come. Your comrades have not. Well, they probably have died at his hands. But...
if he is as powerful as you say, then I would not take action against him.
And
I would
simply, die, as was foretold.
I will leave this world.
But why not help us? You don't have to take direct action. We'll take the direct action. You're just assisting from behind the scenes.
Let us be your weapon and your patsy.
Let us be your chicken legs.
Your minions.
Clawed chicken legs.
How would you propose that I do this?
Well, Koschei has a Faerie assistant. Might you have someone under your command that could accompany us?
Or a means of taking her on.
Yeah, any information about Musadora to penetrate her stealth, her true name, maybe? Anything that you could offer by way of intelligence.
She thinks about what you're saying, and she's going to say, look, I have made myself clear. I will not assist you. I will not provide any aid of any kind that might weaken Koschei's position, because it is not in my interests to do so. As she says this, she makes some sort of dramatic gesture, and you notice that a beam of sunlight through the window falls on a table behind her, where the horns sit and where some sort of ancient book bound in leather or maybe human skin sits. She says, "Now I must go back to my oven and finish my meal." She turns away from you and turns her back to the table.
I run for the table.
And what do you take?
I'm taking everything. The horns, the book, and all.
I jump up from the couch, knowing that the burglary is about to happen.
Baba Yaga is just muttering to herself about the uselessness of humans.
Then we will take off.
Let's get out of here.
All right. Well, this seems like a fortuitous place for our first break, so let's come back in 10 minutes.
Okay.
So Lowell, did you not even have to roll for that little 5-finger discount on her stuff?
That makes me more nervous.
I know.
I think she was giving it to us.
Yeah, well, I think that the horns would have been necessary if we had really messed that up. I'm hoping.
Lowell, one thing that we didn't say that's relevant to the book is that when we saw Koschei in the kitchen with his fairy servant, he was chanting from a book. I don't know if it looks like that book or not. When he was working on the gingerbread house.
Vadeem's not a big, what we might call,
A reader.
reader.
All right, everyone ready to continue?
Yes.
Quick question
Alright.
about the
Okay.
timeline aspects. If we
Mhm.
want to get with that tick,
Yep.
we have to actually invoke one of them, like with a
Yes.
fate point. Is that what you
Yeah,
mean?
that's
Okay,
right.
got it. I just want to make sure I understood that.
That's cool. And you have to succeed on the roll. It doesn't. You don't get the ripple if you still fail. So I'm just going to copy over a new tab onto the spreadsheet, onto the keeper, for the magic that you have discovered. So bear with me for one sec. And this is probably a good time to talk a little bit about how magic works in this game. So it's just over there on the left, called Copy of Sorcery, or I'll change the name to Sorcery. So that has the rules for magic generally on the left-hand side, and then some specific spells or magical effects that are available to you. Using magic at all requires you to mark enchantment. That's something to be aware of. Magic is dangerous. When you cast a spell, you will make a law roll to overcome against a difficulty that the particular spell you're using will specify. So obviously you want your law to be high so you can meet that difficulty. The problem is that you then face a backlash from the cosmic forces proportional to how successful you were. So whatever you roll on that check, you then have to roll to defend against as mental stress. Does that make sense? So a high roll is good for succeeding at the magic, but bad for the harm that might befall you. And if the mental stress that comes back to you is so much that you can't absorb it all through stress and consequences, then you have to enchant one of your aspects and gain an enchantment stun.
Wow. And do we gain enchantment just by using a piece of fey magic?
Yes.
Okay.
So you have your enchantment track somewhere on the keeper. You gain enchantment when you use an enchanted stunt, cast a spell as a cost of success for using fey technology, and some fey creatures will also, when they attack, will cause you to mark enchantment. And so I've marked down there two spells. So one is the horns themselves, which I assume one of you will be carrying, which allow you to escape from pretty much anything if you roll well enough. And the book that you found, it is a spell book. It looks like there are spells, like you mentioned, getting your own fey servant or something like that. It does look like there are rituals of those kind in there, but that would take some time to understand. But a relatively simple spell that you can pick up and may wish to use is the sea enchantment spell, which allows you to perceive invisible things and other kinds of fey glamours and enchantments. So, Fadim, do you hold on to the horns or do you give them to someone else?
I think I will hand one to Maeve and one to Sinead.
Cool.
Shane, are they able to be used individually, or does one have to blow all three of them?
I mean, the three have to be blown together. I think that three people could blow them, but one person would have to be the one actually casting the spell.
Got it.
And I'll say, that perhaps is not my forte, but I can blow this horn really loud.
You can blow the third one, Fadim.
The third one.
Yeah.
Yeah, the magic, the actual enchantment is probably Dr. C's forte.
So we've talked a lot of, like, we've bounced around on a lot of do X, Y, and Z, right? We have to settle and choose one. Do we go to the gingerbread house, try again, and try to blow it up there? Or do we go to the card game and try and ambush there? That feels like the two options, right?
I mean, or to split the party and try and do both.
No.
Or to find his bodies. But we don't have any clue where the bodies are. So
And yeah, we don't have the clue. And I mean, one of the things is we can attack the gingerbread house at the same time as the card game, or relatively close, to put him off balance and spend more energy to have to come to us.
Sounded as though Baba Yaga might not attend if she is fearing her own safety and we do not provide sufficient security. So I think the only way the card game's happening is if we commit. So we could go for that, try and destroy Koschei there, race to the gingerbread house before he's able to get back in another body, and then get in under his guard, or we just all-out assault with our killer at the site of the church, which seems like a more direct, straightforward plan, but it will mean coming up against some very dangerous threats.
well, now that we have some magic at our disposal, maybe we should go for the gingerbread house today, like immediately. We could be in the Catskills pretty fast. That's my vote.
Okay.
Didn't work out for us last time.
Okay. No,
but now
if
we
that's
have
what you
Faerie
think we
with
ought to
us.
do, Dr. C, I'm behind you 100%.
All right. You're going to take the train again, or do you wrangle a car?
Let's take. Can we get a car? Can we do that?
Sure. I don't know how to drive, but you guys will figure it out, right?
None of us know how to drive.
Do none of us?
How hard can it be?
I mean, Maeve was a teenager before the apocalypse, right? It's
Oh, that's
definitely
right. She
plausible
must have
to me
gotten a
that-
license.
Yeah.
I mean, she would have been like 16 or 17 when the apocalypse happened. I'm not sure if she'd stop to get a license
Yeah, the restricted,
mid-apocalypse.
a restricted
But,
license.
okay, yeah, I probably have one. Yeah.
I don't know about a license, but definitely knowing how to drive, I believe.
Doing donuts.
Let's just drive carefully. Let's not get into a chase or hot pursuit or anything.
All right. Well, how do you want to frame the scene? I guess my first question is, do you want to get there during the day or the night? Because you know that the church itself only appears at night. So maybe we'll start this off like late in the afternoon. It's starting to get dark. The workers are starting to leave the site. You definitely see again, from doing some recon from a distance, that there are these small patrols of armed guards that you've seen before. You got past them pretty easily last time.
What do we have? I'd like to rewind a bit. What do we have and what can we get to burn this place to the ground?
I mean, there's all those, like, it's full of construction materials. Like, if you just wanted to set a fire, like, you can certainly have like a can of gasoline or something to splash around. That wouldn't require any rolls or anything like that. If you want to make a resources roll to overcome, to have something beyond that, explosives or a detonator or, some sort of, demolition machinery, I'm not sure. We could do that.
We are resource free as a group.
Not specialized in resources, it's true.
We're all poor.
It's like a skill.
Yeah, I think I'm going to be shifting some points here.
Yeah, I was
at the end
thinking
of
the same
Yeah,
thing.
got an absence on some key things, but because I think we need crafts just to do some of this stuff. Well, let's just take gasoline and hope for the best.
Yeah. So let's say you've like packed it into like Molotov cocktails or something that will be like relatively easy to spread around, something like that.
Yeah, nothing fancy, just gasoline.
Cool. And as the sun goes down, what do you do?
Is it possible, like on the drive up, that Dr. C brought some of his lore books and is studying in the back seat of the car to try to find any information he can about, say, Musadora?
Sure.
And any weaknesses that she might have, or
yeah, maybe cross-referencing with the new magic book, something like that.
Yeah, and then cross-referencing with the new human skin book. He's busy reading in the back seat.
Yeah. So yeah, go ahead. Well, are you looking to overcome, like to reveal a weakness that will just be fictional, or are you looking to create an advantage that will have potentially free invokes attached to it?
I think create an advantage, maybe.
All right. Yeah. Go ahead and roll with law. I think
I'd
Zadora
like
is
to
pretty
help.
powerful. Of course.
Sorry to interrupt.
So anyone with law can offer a point. I think the opposition will be 4 for this. Relatively obscure information.
And Matt, is Bear helping? Is that
Bear's
what you said?
helping.
So he's looking over my shoulder and looking at the books too, right?
Yeah, and I'm more of like the verbal kind of. So you're reading things aloud, and I'm like, oh, I remember.
Oh, I know about that.
Yeah.
I have a point of lore, so I guess I'm helping too.
Excellent.
Nice.
Where else? It's a busy car. All right. Where is the roller? Okay. I can spell. So I have a 4 in lore, and then a +1 and a +1 for the 2 helps. All right, let's see what happens. 7.
Yeah. So that's a success with style. So create an aspect and give it 2 free invokes.
Okay. Anyone want to help me out with the Musadora aspect? A weakness of hers?
Well, she wasn't. We know she doesn't have to count things, right? Is that what happened last
No, she
time?
did get down to count the salt. We could use that again. Oh, there was a scene, Lowell, where the bear spilled salt, and Dr. C somehow compelled Musadora to get down and start counting all the grains. So we could just do that one again, or unless someone else has another idea.
Commandable, or like everybody's servant, or like
Oh, everybody's servant. Oh, some kind of a command word or something.
like his power is an absolute if we know how to phrase it right or something.
Command phrase.
Yeah.
Was she still invisible?
Yeah.
Maybe something about like something to make her visible, like glitter or something.
I guess I'll try to make a decision since I rolled. Then I'll say I'm gonna say the command phrase. I think that'll be useful. So we have somehow we know how to phrase something so that she'll have to respond.
And we can just call into the air.
So I've put a new Assault on the Gingerbread Church tab on the keeper. Sorry, I know there's approximately 1 million tabs on this at this point. I'll clear some of those up before next session.
Okay.
Now, I want to suggest that when we do use the book and the spells, that is a good point in time to invoke that friend of enemy of my enemy is a friend aspect.
Yeah.
Just so we don't forget that.
Because it is her spell book.
Right.
That might also apply to the seal ladies living in the lake if that ever comes up.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how it would, but just want to. Oh yeah.
Oh damn! I should have applied it to that roll that I just did.
We crushed it.
We crushed it.
There's no access to from the lake to this church, though, right?
It's nearby.
Like the construction site's just sort of adjacent to the lake.
I'd like to free those poor creatures, but without the pelts, I don't think we can.
Pelts are in New York, yeah. Maybe we can give them vengeance and dump Koschei in there.
We can dump Koschei's body in there.
Yeah. Let's get to work.
Yep.
So is our approach slash and burn? Maeve's original plan?
Are you good with this, Maeve?
Yeah, sounds good to me.
Okay.
All right. And like, tell me about like, what's the timing? Do you wait till midnight? Do you just do it as soon as everyone's gone home? Like, what's the approach?
Twilight's a good transition time.
Yeah, I think we do it. We would go in then to catch as much as we can, sort of. So we are closer to the day. I don't know. I just want to punch something. You guys know what you're doing.
Looks like we're just gonna burn shit.
Should we have a car bomb ready to go? Like have the gasoline all loaded up in the rental car and then have someone just drive it into the church?
Someone's credit rating is going to be ruined.
Well, I suggest that before we go in to fight, to raid the thing, I think we throw the Molotovs and light the building on fire before we even go in.
First?
Yeah, before we burst into that room. I think we have to set that fire going. And while it may be dangerous for us to get out, I think that has to be a distraction that they're going to have to deal with.
Do we want to go straight to the heart of the matter and go straight to the kitchen and start the fire there?
Start a fire around in the building around that and go in.
Yeah.
And prey on the chaos.
Let's do it.
Okay.
So, Maeve, as you approach the site, your Fae eye beneath your patch is twitching wildly. Something it wants to look at.
So,
I assume that's a compel.
No, it's not a compel. Just like just some description. You can choose to look or not.
I'm not looking. I'm like, there's something out there. I tell the group.
Should
What-
I use?
What is out there?
I
think
don't
you
know.
should use the
Something's
spell.
making my eye act up.
Is that good or bad?
It's never been good before.
Well, can you see it?
I don't want to risk that now.
Baba Yaga told us about the additional defenses, and now we have a spell that can show them to us. Should we use it?
I got the book.
I'm for it. I don't like not knowing.
Okay, out of character, my eye is probably more safe than the spell, because I don't have to roll, like I don't have to deal with the consequences. But I don't want to mark the timeline track against us. I mean,
So
if I
just
can
to let you
help it.
know, like mechanically, you can just make a notice check. Like the Faerie just gives you some fictional positioning to make a notice check. That's going to give you a little more information. Like ultimately, to really see what's going on here, it will involve enchantment, but you can definitely get some more information just by using your eye to notice stuff.
Oh, then I'll try to do that.
Right. Well, yeah, go ahead and roll to notice. Roll to overcome using notice. All right. So the difficulty on this is 2. Sorry, I should have said. So are you interested in invoking an aspect?
Yeah, I'll invoke my the hounds have the scent aspect, just because I'm used to keeping an eye out for danger and stuff.
Okay, so that'll make it a success. So what you see is that there is like the entire site ripples with enchantment. The land itself extending out beyond the lake. There's a huge, it doesn't appear like a perimeter. It looks like something is enchanting the entirety of that area, the land, the building, everything. And you probably think that the sea enchantment spell from the book could help you identify more specifically what's happening there. If anyone wants to try casting a spell.
Bear's
the book
encouraging
here.
it.
Okay, we can walk blindly into this thing, or we can take the tools that we have to do this. I say, by the end of this, we're all going to be dead. Just want you to know this. By the end of all these 4 things, this is the very first one. We're all going to be dead by the end, so we might as well do this now.
Mhm.
I don't know. I kind of liked it better when Faerie was strong and silent.
Hey, I didn't make up some owl creature like the
scaring
fool
me.
Koschei.
You're scaring me. You're scaring Dr. C. Remember, Dr. C is soft.
Oh, the future is scary.
You people are scary. Okay. Shall I read this crazy spell?
Yeah.
I think you should. It's
All right.
time.
Time to read the spell. Okay, so I do it with lore,
Mhm.
and my friends can help me still.
Yeah, but remember the like double-edged sword that the higher you roll, the more you have to defend.
Okay.
Um,
Or would you tell me the difficulty?
yeah, it's 2. It's always 2 for this spell.
And we
Okay.
help on the will roll as well.
I don't know that you can help on a defend roll. I think that's really for the caster to deal with.
So what do you
With all
think?
my
Just
charms.
roll it with the 4?
So you got to start by marking enchantment, just for using the spell. So mark
Alright.
your enchantment track.
Dr. C's pretty little hair starts standing on end as the mystical forces circle about him. And I guess I'll just do the lore roll. I can always bump it if I need to. All right.
I would like to help if I might.
All right. I'm going to do it.
Are we helping?
Well, you don't need to because Dr. C has succeeded. So what you see is that this vast tract of land that includes the lake and the construction site is alive, is a sentient creature that has been like composed somehow, like a great dragon with the construction site on its back. And it is at the moment inert, but obviously it has some capacity to awaken, and you will be walking onto it to get to the church.
All right.
Sorry, just before we do that, so Dr.
I've
C,
got
I'll get you to
to get the
defend,
backlash.
defend using will. So it's just a difficulty of 3 here.
Bear grabs your hand in the back seat.
All right, so I am. Oh, because that's what I rolled was a 3, so
Yeah.
that's the difficulty. I see.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
You're strong, Doctor.
So I actually want to get 3. Okay. 4.
All right. So you there's no backlash at all.
Bear believes
Void
in
with
me.
confidence.
Is there a head to this thing? You say it's like a dragon. Is there a head?
No, it
Sure.
doesn't have an anatomy in any way that you can tell. It has legs. It could lift itself up from the ground, but it doesn't have a head.
Could you see if it had a heart? A place to strike at it?
So the effect will last for a few minutes. It doesn't seem to have anything that resembles like anatomy in the ways that you know. It's not at all obvious to you, apart from like mass destruction, like maybe you can burn the whole thing, how you would harm it.
Then I think we no subtlety. I think we pedal to the metal, drive up to the building, like because this thing is going to pick up on us coming. We got to get up there as quickly as possible. If you want, I can stay out, or Maeve can stay out and deal with the outside guards while the rest go in. Burn the place. Fight the Faerie.
Bear, do you know anything about keeping dragons asleep?
Interesting. I could play a tune on this little horn. Yeah. Bear has fought dragons, and Bear has definitely been around when beasts have been enchanted before in the forests of his homeland. So I could lore roll to recall some stuff, but I'm also okay to go all in and pacify later.
I was just thinking if we could put him a little more to sleep, then we could tiptoe in and drop the Molotov cocktails before it wakens.
I do like it. Could I try a lore roll, Shane?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, cool.
I think that this is going to be fairly difficult. I think that maybe a target of 6 for this makes sense.
Oh my.
Extremely uncommon knowledge.
Could I have help from Dr. C?
Anyone with lore can give you a
I will
+1.
cheer you on.
All right.
Does anyone else have lore?
Maeve has 1 lore.
I do.
All right, so I'm doing a bit of tale telling as we like roll closer to the church with the moon high in the sky, and I'm trying to get to the part of
Yeah, I think you're rolling to create an advantage. All right, so you're too short of a tie. So if you want to invoke an aspect to bring that up to a tie, you can, or a couple of aspects to bring it up to a.
and a tie gets a boost, a one-off invoke.
I think that's right.
We'd only need it once, so
Yeah.
I would do it.
Do you want to invoke the enemy of my enemy is my friend?
I could use Head Full of Grandma's Fairy Tales, but
We'd get a check if you use the enemy of my
No, not for a tie.
If you use that, you have to you would have to do at least 2 things to push it to a win. Of that
Oh,
case.
okay, my bad.
yeah, I
We'll wait.
sure about that either. But yeah, I'll spend a fate point and invoke Head Full of Grandma's Fairy Tales, and bring it up to a tie.
And so tell us, what do you know about keeping land that has been brought to sentience asleep?
So it's like typically large natural spirits, primordials, all those kinds of like ancient natural beings. And I think what they need to be pacified is a song that matches the land around them to sort of convince them that nothing is wrong and nothing is changing. I think the music kind of like casts a bit of an enchantment over the energy that we're bringing to it if we can kind of like lull it to remind it of where it is. You know, the river's running by, the mountains of the Catskills are there. So I think maybe Bear's trying to remember or trying to like twist a song from his homeland to fit the surroundings that he's in now.
All right, and we'll call the boost the land is tired or something like that.
Yeah, the land's lullaby.
Land's lullaby.
Nice.
Alliteration, awesome.
The lullaby is we roar up with our rental car.
Oh, now with tiptoe.
Yeah. So Bear's got his head up the sunroof and he's like humming like a melody and like tapping on his horn while the car's just creeping up the hill.
All right. So I think that we're going to run this as a contest, which is where both sides have different goals that are somewhat complex. So I think that for all of you, it's going to take a total of, I think I have the contest rules right, a total of 3 overcome successes on actions taken to burn down the site to succeed. One character on each side makes an overcome action. So there'll be a series of exchanges. There's also going to be a fight going on. So one of you is basically going to have to opt out of making attacks in favor of trying to burn down the church. Fictionally, that can be what all of you are doing, but mechanically, it's going to be one of you that takes that burden. And whichever side gets to 3 successes on those opposed overcome actions first is going to succeed in its goal. I think that will make more sense as we start to play it out. But yeah, so just to be clear, was someone going to hang back and try and pick off the guards, or are you all 4 going right in?
If we're not like immediately alerting the guards, I think we should all 4 go in.
All right, so we'll get someone, whoever has the highest stealth can make a stealth check with help from anyone who wants to help.
That would be me or Dr. C, and Dr. C has taken a lot of rolls, so why don't I take the hit on this one?
All right.
I can help.
Okay. So, rolling. Ooh, that's a 4 without any help.
Oh, oops, sorry. I'm just going to roll some opposition to see if the guards notice you. But I've tried to roll with no dice, so I'll just do that again.
Not the what?
The best possible roll. The guards are alert tonight. Koschei has put the fear of God into them, apparently. So, would you like to invoke any aspects there?
Well, with our
Yeah.
help, it's
7, right?
a tie, right?
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah, so I will have a 4. If with the help of somebody is a +1 is a 5.
Okay.
All 3 of us can help, I believe. So I think we go to a 7.
All right. So then you will succeed. If you want, you can use an aspect to bring it up to a success with style and also get a boost. Can't believe I rolled the best that I will ever roll in a Fate game, and it did absolutely no good.
Because we're all a little bit sneaky.
Very sneaky. All right. So you've gotten inside the building. I mean, it's much as you found it last time. The sounds, the lights from inside that closed up kitchen, the smell of gingerbread wafting out. Let's drop into initiative order here. And I will ask you, who is going to take the first action? Would someone like to take a turn to start burning it down? Because as soon as you start that fire, the sneaky, like the guards are going to know you're there. Like the stealth roll is not going to last you once things start to burn.
Is it athletics to get the cocktails in the right place?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'm happy for you to tell me what skill you're using for that within reason.
So we're in the building now, and it's a construction work in progress. So there's like, it's not complete.
Yeah.
I'm imagining.
Yeah.
Okay. Then from where we are, I guess I'd like to make some lobs to try and pinpoint our fire bombs to vulnerable places in the building and places surrounding the Gingerbread Church. So I'm throwing up through rafters and through incomplete walls and things like that to try and get a fire burning that will inevitably spread to the center.
All right. Well, go ahead and make an overcome roll.
Okay.
I think just with a, well, so sorry, this is an opposed roll, so.
All right. Let's see how my arm's doing. I toss an arm. Ooh, not great, but it's a 3.
Okay. So before we move on with the initiative order, the other side gets to go in this contest, and then you can figure out if you want to use aspects and stuff to make sure you succeed. So even though you've sung it a lullaby, this is the land's cue to start rising from the ground and walking across the veil between worlds and depositing all 4 of you in the realm of Faerie. So that's what it's looking for successes on. It's going to use, what is its skill for this? Sorry. It is going to use its transport you to Faerie skill, reasonably enough. It rolls at +4. All right, so
singing while he throws.
It's rolled a 4. You have that boost that you can use for free to bump that up to a 5. Do you want to use that here?
Yeah, I'm gonna use it. And while I'm like prepping the Molotov cocktails and lighting the rags, I'm like singing the song about the Catskills and the trees are beautiful, the river's so fair, and I'm just like singing it while I'm throwing firebombs.
Right.
So yeah, I'll invoke that.
So the boost is gone. Let's see, I'm going to spend a fate point to bring that up for the construction site. Oh, maybe it doesn't have an aspect it can use here. That was a bit of an oversight. I think that the site will invoke the timeline aspect, what fools these mortals be, and that will bring its roll up to a 6. Do you want to?
So the boost is not a free invoke, right?
The boost was a free invoke. You didn't have to spend a fate point for it, but now that you've used it, it's gone.
And we are at a 5 to a 6 right now.
Yep.
And this is the roll to determine how successful the fires go.
Well, so really the contest part, which is what we're rolling now, is to decide whether you burn down the church before the site drags you all into Faerie.
Okay. I don't want to invoke my enchanted aspect. Let me look at the assault page.
Could you invoke the timeline aspect?
I mean, you could invoke the construction debris, like it makes sense that helps you to burn the place down.
Construction debris. Oh, the construction site. I didn't even notice that. Yeah, I'll invoke that. Say it's falling apart a little bit, lots of planks and beams around that are yet to go up, and the fire spreading to rooms faster than it would otherwise.
All right, so we'll let that sit. So that's a success in the contest. Now we're going to play out the rest of the round like a combat. So Bear, do you want to pass the initiative to someone else? The list of who's a party in this initiative round is on the right hand side in the assault tab.
Are we in sight of any guards currently?
I mean, they're rushing towards you now that the fire's getting out of control. Koschei and probably Musadora have emerged. Koschei like slams his way out of the kitchen, his eyes glowing with rage.
Okay. I'll pass it to Maeve. With
Right.
the,
Oh,
with
I forgot to put Maeve in the issue. I'm so sorry. Let me add you there. All right.
So Bear's singing at the top of his lungs now.
So Maeve, what will you do?
I'm gonna try to line up or to make an advantage with my uncanny accuracy.
Okay.
So I'm just lining up a shot. Yeah.
Yeah. On anyone in particular, or on the guards generally?
If Koschei is here now, do we want to try to go for him immediately? Or... Yeah, I'll go. I'll line up a shot on Koschei.
Yeah, I mean, it worked pretty good last time.
Yeah.
All right. So he'll just go ahead and roll, and he'll roll to defend.
I'm just making an advantage now, so.
Yeah, so
I
you
think
roll
it's
to create an advantage
Okay.
using shoot, and he's going to roll to defend the advantage.
Okay. 2.
All right. Let's see how he does. He's going to roll to defend using athletics. Okay, so that's a 3. Do you want to invoke an aspect to bring that up to a success?
I'll hang on to them for now.
All right. So you don't manage to create an advantage. He's moving a little bit too wildly for you, but you can pass the initiative to someone.
Right.
You might want to think about passing it to the other side if you don't want them to get a set of like double actions at the end of the round.
I'll hand it to the guards, I guess.
All right. So the guards are just going to roll to attack. I mean, I think they probably see. I guess they're going to attack. Let's say 2 of them will attack Bear and 2 will attack Maeve, because Bear is running around lighting things on fire, and Maeve is there with a gun, like lining up a shot. So we'll do Bear first. What are they? What's their shoot? Sorry. They shoot at +2. All right, Bear, they've rolled a 3 to shoot you. Can you roll to defend using athletics?
Yes, I can.
4. All right. The goons do not get to use fate points, so they'll miss. They'll like spray the area with gunshots, but they'll miss you. And a couple of them will try and take out Maeve. And again, they're not getting to use. I mean, you couldn't possibly roll worse than that with athletics, could you? So they'll just miss. The goons are just goons. They will pass the initiative too. Let's see. I mean, I think they have to pass it to their boss, right? Like, what else would they do? So Koschei is going to take a turn. And I think we'll try and take out Bear as well. Like, it makes sense to try and take out the one who's most actively trying to burn this place down. So let's see. Koschei attacks with sorcery, and we'll roll +5 to attack.
How does one defend against sorcery?
So you can roll to defend with will, or with athletics, like whichever you prefer, because he's aiming like a physical beam of magic at you. So he's rolled a 4. Go ahead and roll to defend.
I'm going to defend with athletics. I've rolled a 4.
All right, so that's a tie. He will absolutely spend a fate point to make sure that he hits you with his, let's see, immortal sorcerer. Well, actually, he'll just use his always has a plan aspect that he gets for free. So he banks the shot off some of the debris using up one of his free invokes, and that brings him up to a 6. Do you want to spend an aspect to bring it up to a tie?
If he hits now, I'll take 2 stress.
That's
or
right, but you'll
more.
also mark enchantment if he hits you.
Interesting. Well, I'm down to my last point already. I don't think I want to use it.
All
But
right.
if I mark enchant, oh yeah, enchantment's just 1 on the clock. So I'll take the stress and the enchantment.
Okay, so that's fine, but also just to remind you, the Queen's timeline gets a box marked anytime that you mark enchantment.
Okay. Then maybe I should spend. Yeah, I'll spend. What can I use here? Can I use my it's not written. Can I use my Faerie relationship? That like Faerie pokes the bear basically. So when I'm fighting alongside Faerie, I can like go full soldier mode and
Absolutely.
okay, cool.
That sounds great.
Yeah, so Fadeem's obviously in the mix now. She hasn't taken her turn yet, I think, but I think the two of us are like pushing forwards, and I feel
All right, so that will bring you to a tie. What happens on a tie? Okay, so Koschei gets a boost, and I think that his boost is going to be rage towards Bear, because he is very angry that you have evaded his magic.
Okay, great.
Let's see. Sorry, just recording that. And he will pass the initiative to Fadim, I think. Oh, you're muted.
Of course. So at this point, we can't see, or can we see Muziadora?
You have not seen her yet.
Okay.
You can make an overcome action to try and see where she is.
Dr. C, are you going to try and make her visible? Is that what's going to happen, or what are you going to do? Because or if are you going to do bombings?
So the bombings, the Molotov cocktails are all in the overcome rolls. Is that correct? And these
Like,
are
there's plenty of
attack rolls?
Molotovs. You're definitely welcome to make attack rolls using the Molotovs as well.
Yeah, but we're in attack mode right now.
Yeah.
I was thinking of trying to use one of the command words on her to try to create an advantage on her.
Okay.
It could be show yourself.
Yeah, well, actually, let's do this. Let's use one of the Molotovs to attempt to overcome, to make her visible. Essentially, to splatter the area around Koschei, because we know that she's near him. And I'm not trying to hit Koschei, but I'm just trying to get that so that maybe she'll be illuminated, or we can see where she's protecting. Does that seem fair?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Go ahead. She has quite a high stealth roll. I'll let you know, but go ahead and roll to overcome. Probably using athletics, I think.
Yeah, that seems fair to me. We know about her. We've gotten some details on her. We've got the book. So let's see what we do here. Ooh,
All right.
-3.
Do you want me to roll the opposition before you decide?
Yeah, even though I know it's going to be hella.
Oh, right. So that
Opposition is a 6.
You would need 3 aspects to get to a tie.
Well, let's start with this. I think that I have fought invisible creatures before. I made him a shield maiden of the Fae. I'm going to spend a point to re-roll my roll.
Okay.
Let's start with that, because that will determine how everything else goes.
You could use one of the free invokes on command phrase, and you could have said something like, "Catch, Muziadora."
Oh, that's not a bad idea. Yeah, let's. That's a really good idea. I think that we'll start with that.
Right.
We'll see where we get to.
All right. So you're still 5 short of a tie. 3 aspects will get you to a outright success.
Yeah, to do everything I have to get her visible. No, I think I gotta take the loss on that.
Okay. And who will you? So your choices are to pass the initiative either to Musadora or to Dr. C.
Let's pass it to Musadora.
All right. So she's
Hopefully,
gonna,
I've drawn her attention.
she is going to use her turn to try and create an advantage using stealth by hiding herself even more effectively, positioning herself. Whoever has the highest notice, can I get you to roll the opposition to this? I think that's Maeve.
Already?
All right. She's rolled a 6.
4.
So are you interested in using an aspect or a fate point to bring that up to a tie or a success?
Yeah, I'll use an aspect to bring it, or spend a fate point to bring it up to a tie.
What aspect will you invoke?
I mean, the hounds have my scent again. I'm used to dealing with, like, you know, mysterious attacks and stuff.
All right. Yeah, that makes sense. So she's going to get, so she gets to make, she creates 1 free invoke when she creates an aspect. She hasn't created an aspect. All right. So she just has a boost called hidden. Cool. And wait, I put Shanad and Bear both on the initiative order. That's where Maeve went. I got distracted. Sorry. Yeah. And that must mean that Dr. C is having a turn.
That's my turn.
Yeah.
So I feel like we have a sense that Musadora is here, or we at least can deduce that she's here. And so I think I'm gonna try to do use my stunt, which is disturbingly insightful, which lets me use empathy instead of provoke as an attack, a mental attack.
And so what does that look like?
And so, and he's gonna say, oh well, yeah. I think he's just gonna say, flee, but I don't need to. I'm wanting to use the command phrase, but I don't need to decide that just right away, right? I could just try to provoke somehow some kind of fear of fire in her. How's that? The fire's going to get you. Get out of here.
You're using empathy to make this attack, so I think that there has to be some sort of sympathetic phrasing or empathetic, like.
Oh, well, it's kind of. Let me see. Let me read that thing so I'll know what it says. Your skill at reading people makes you adept at provoking a strong emotional response if you're trying to get them angry, depressed, or something similar. I think maybe I'm trying to get her afraid.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense.
And so I'm trying to somehow say, the fire's everywhere, flee, Musadora.
Yeah.
Let's see. I roll.
So rolling an attack with empathy.
So that's a 3. Let's see what goes on. It's a 4.
All right, and let's see. She's going to roll to defend using will, which is relatively high. Oh, that's a 3. So she will just take 1 stress for that.
If I were to invoke.
So every point that you beat her defense by is 1 harm that she takes.
So she won't actually flee. She'll just take harm.
Well, she'll take mental harm, and if she can't absorb it, she'll be taken out, and that's the point where she would flee.
Okay. Shall I then use the free invoke that we have on her? Might as well pop it up. Yeah. Yeah. So use the command phrase
Right.
invoke to pop it to 3.
All right. Well, she's going to use her boost on hidden to bring that back down to 1 point of difference.
Okay.
Do you want to spend any fate points?
The reason we even have this advantage on her is because of the book that Baba Yaga gave us. So I think I'm going to use a fate point to invoke the enemy of my enemy.
All right. That will bring things up to a to 3. She'll take 3 stress.
And
I think that you sense that, like, there's a feeling in the air. You sense that she is starting to feel fearful, but it hasn't yet been enough to break her.
got it.
Do you want to keep going with fate points, or do you want to try to leave it until you get another chance?
I'll just take another fate point. What the hell? Let's see if I can take her out.
All right.
And I'll invoke the Iron Fist and the Velvet Glove.
Yeah.
Yes.
And what is it that you say that finally causes her to flee?
I've actually positioned myself so that the fire is right behind me. And so there's a kind of a visual effect of the flames licking out. And so as she looks in the direction of my command, I think she sees fire all around. And that's part of what scares her.
All right. So, I mean, it's a weird sensation, but all of you sense that this invisible creature is running. You can't quite see it, but somehow you know that that's what's happening. And Koschei as well, obviously even further enraged that you have taken his fairy servant from him. So we will take a break here, but let's, just before we go to the break, Dr. C, who will you pass the initiative to when we come back?
It's a brand new round, right?
Yeah, that's right. You can have another turn if you want, or you can pass it to someone else.
No, why don't I pass it to Bear, who was at the top?
All right. Cool. So yeah, let's take like 5 minutes or so, and we'll come back and see what happens next.
Okay.
All right, is everyone ready to continue?
Yes.
All right, so we are at the top of the round. Bear, I assume that you are continuing to try and burn this place down.
Yeah, it's either that, unless it rotates around and I could try and create an advantage for all of us using my stunt, but I don't have any fate points left, so that's probably not the best move.
I mean, you're welcome to use your turn to create an advantage so that somebody else can be the one that tries to burn the place down this round. Like, there's no reason that it needs to be the same person who's doing all the burning, as long as one of you during the round uses their action to try and toast the place.
Yeah, I can do that if you want to set up something.
Okay, let's give this a go. I wish I had a fate point for it, but I want to use my protective charms stunt. When I use any kind of fairy ward to create an advantage with lore, it gets an extra free invoke. Does that mean whether or not it succeeds, or it has to succeed?
I think it means, because it says when you use it to create an aspect, so you have to actually create the aspect for it to work. That's the way I decided it worked for Musadora a minute ago. So
that makes sense.
That's the ruling.
And in this case, I might be rolling like against Koschei's will with my lore, which is not a favorable roll with no.
I mean, what is it that you're doing, like, fictionally? Like, what's
so
the action?
what I want to do is have brought a live rooster into the construction site and let it loose in the building, so it's kind of hard to find, and it's just going around letting out ridiculously loud cries, which are notoriously challenging for fey creatures, especially creatures of the night. So
amazing. I probably would have let the guards invoke the aspect that you were carrying a rooster if I'd known when you were trying to sneak in here, but never mind, that's good. I love this.
I am friend of beasts. I'm king of beasts. So
I think that he would defend that using, what would he defend? Like maybe notice, because it's really that he's trying to stay focused when you in the face of this distraction.
Yeah, the idea is it's supposed to be like hard for fairies to hear because it reminds them of the dawn, and because it's just, I don't know, something out of mythology.
Okay, go ahead. I mean, go ahead and roll to create an advantage, and he's going to defend using notice.
All right. It's a 4.
That is going to be tough for him. All right, he's not going to burn all his fate points on this one, so he'll let that sit. You create the advantage. In fact, you create an advantage with 2 free invokes on it, because that's a success with style.
And because of my stunt, it gets an extra free invoke. Freebies all around. This rooster's going to be causing problems.
Koschei, already filled with rage towards you, is about to explode. But yeah, so are we just calling the aspect loose rooster? Like,
yeah, the roost is loose. Yeah,
right.
The rooster's loose for sure.
All right, and who do you pass the initiative to?
Koschei's here. The guards are here. I'll pass to our legendary killer, Faerie, my sibling in arms.
All right, Faerie, what do you do?
Then I am spending my round running pell-mell like the rooster and throwing Molotovs every which way I can.
All right. I'm just going to add that an aspect without any free invokes, that like everything, like firefight, something like that. There's fires burning everywhere. There's guns going off.
Fire.
Everything's on fire. There's machine gun spraying. It seems like that's an aspect that somebody might decide to invoke. But yeah, go ahead and roll an overcome action. Using athletics or something else if you think there's something.
Yeah, I think athletics is probably my best bet on this.
All right.
So that'll be a 4.
All right, and the opposition comes from the land, which is trying to take you all to Faerie before you can burn this place down, and it rolls at +4. So it will invoke. It will spend, or I will spend a fate point to bring that up to a 5.
And I will burn one of the free invokes to take that to a 6.
What will Koschei do? Koschei always has a plan, and he's going to spend his last free invoke on that. Oh, sorry, he can't. He'll let the land use that free invoke. I think that makes sense. So that's a 7.
All right, well, then I will spend a fate point of my own to invoke the construction debris, which we have out there. We're still using that.
All right, it will spend. No, Koschei wants to save his fate points for this, so I guess that will allow you to get your second victory. It takes 3 victories to succeed on burning the place down before you're taken to Faerie. So you're getting close. On the next round, one of you will be able to attempt to finish the job. But Fadim, who will you pass the initiative to?
Koschei.
All right. Koschei is
Get him out of the way for the round.
definitely going to try and take out Bear, given he has a boost called Rage at Bear right now.
So I have no points.
He will send this great blast towards you. Let's see, he rolls at +5. And you'll want to roll your defense there. So he's rolled a 4. You've rolled a 2.
I would like to call on my friend, the bird of the morning, for a free invoke to bring it up to a tie.
All right. Well, he is going to use his boost, his Rage at Bear, to bring that up to a 6. You want to use another free invoke on the rooster?
I guess so. My best friend maybe even emerges into the room, and I'm like dodging his blast, and I say, "Behold the glory of the dawn," and the rooster goes.
All right. He is enraged at you. So he is going to spend both of his remaining fate points on this to make sure that he really hurts you. So the GM is out of fate points. He will invoke the aspects Immortal Sorcerer and Impossibly Vain. There is no way that he will allow you to disrespect him like this. So that brings him up to a success by 4. So unless, I don't think there's any way that you can invoke any more aspects right now.
Nope.
That means you'll take 4 points of harm. If you have 4 physical stress boxes, you can absorb them there, or otherwise you'll have to put them into consequences.
It maxes them, but does not exceed them.
All right.
I'm maxed. Pointless.
Cool. And you will mark enchantment for that, because his attacks also cause you to mark enchantment. And who do you pass? Oh, sorry, that was Koschei's turn, wasn't it? So he will pass the initiative to. He's not going to get away with the whole round. He's going to let his guards try and take you out as well. So he screams something at his guards like, "That one!" and directs them all to focus their fire on you. I'm just going to get them, I'll just get them all to roll at +3 rather than having, I get all of them to roll at +4 rather than making 2 separate attacks at +2. Does that seem fair?
Yeah, sure.
And I'll get you to roll to defend using athletics. They've
No
rolled a
chance
3.
I can defend with fight, is that right?
Not against projectiles.
Right.
I think, wait, let's just double check that. It should say on the basic actions tab.
I think you can use athletics.
Athletics to defend any, yeah, so fight can only be used to defend physical melee attacks, not ranged attacks.
As soon as I can, I'll try to get in range, but for now, it's a 2.
All right, so they will cause you 1 shift of harm and you'll have to mark a consequence.
I have marked mild punctured.
All right, and that is they get a free invoke, or the other side gets a free invoke on the action aspect. So I'm just going to put bear's wound as something with a free invoke on it there. All right, but the guards have used their turn and now they have no choice but to pass the initiative to Maeve. Maybe you can take those guards out if that's what you want to do.
Yeah. I'll take a shot at the guards, I guess. Yeah.
All right. Well, roll to attack.
2.
All right. They will roll to defend. Oh, all right. You take out, I think you take out a pair of the guards, like spraying them with fire. So there's only just one little pair of guards left. Nice work. Do you want to describe how you line up the shot?
I think just, like notice where they are in cover, just line up a shot and just wait for them to duck out, and then just 2 quick shots and then they're down.
Nice. And Dr. C, I think, is the only one who hasn't taken a turn in this round. So the initiative will go to you, Dr. C.
Can I throw Molotov cocktails? Or do we have to wait for the next round?
You could do that you could create an advantage to do that, but only once per round can you actually engage the contest part.
The contest part. Okay, so we have to wait for the next round for the contest part.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but setting something up wouldn't be a bad idea.
Okay. Let's see. Trying to think something to set up that would assist us in getting that final overcome.
I mean, you can just use the Molotovs, like, throwing Molotovs makes sense as something that helps create an advantage towards burning this place down.
Okay, maybe I'll do that.
So just
Some
using
more
athletics.
Molotovs. Yeah. Feeling inspired by all the flames. All right. Is there a difficulty?
I think just a difficulty of 2. Like, it's not especially difficult to throw some more Molotovs, even with gunshots going off and everything.
All right.
All right, so that's a tie. So you'll create a boost. Do you want to invoke anything?
So a boost is just a one-time aspect.
A boost is a free invoke, but as soon as it's used, it's gone.
Right. Okay. So whoever the next person is to attempt to burn stuff, they could use that boost.
Mm-hmm.
I'll leave that and hold my last fate point in reserve.
And what should we call the boost? Like more fire or something like that?
Yeah, more fire sounds good.
More fire.
More fire.
All right. And it's the top of the round, so you can take another action if you want, or you can pass the initiative to someone else.
Let's see, who has the highest athletics? It's Bear, actually. I'm just trying to think who could make those fires go fast.
I mean, Bear has the problem that there's no fate points left.
Oh, he has no fate points left. That's correct.
Yep.
And
A 3 could pass me up.
yeah. So maybe I'll pass to Fadine.
All right. Fadine, I would like to offer you a compel. You have the enchantment aspect, seeking revenge, not salvation. And Koschei is right there. Are you really going to try and burn this place down, or are you going to try and take him out?
No, I'm going to let somebody else do that. I've been itching to get a shot at this guy.
Take a fate point.
Then I am going to
Sorry,
follow.
let me just pause for a sec. I just want to make sure that this is clear. It does give a ripple to the queen if you accept an invoke on accept a compel on an enchanted aspect. So that's also part of the cost here.
I don't care.
All right. All right. So take that
I
fate point.
I want to get in on him. I don't care if he's immortal. I'm a badass, and I want to start like MMAing him out of this building.
All right.
With the end goal of throwing him out in the ice.
Nice. Well, it's attack with fight.
Okay. So I'm going to attack with fight. So that's that plus that. So I've got a 4 right now before I start invoking a bunch of stuff.
All right. So he'll roll. Just let me roll his defense. All right. So that's a 2. He will definitely. He doesn't have any fate points, does he? Does he? Nothing. No. He can invoke for free. So what happens? You start beating him.
Well, first of all, I'm going to invoke the more fire-free evoke and add that to it.
Right.
And that's then I'm going to invoke the fallen shield maiden of the Fae.
There's a rooster left too, if you want it.
I know there's not. I think they're all used.
I think we only used 2, and there was 3, but
I think you used 2, and Fadim used 1 in the previous round.
If Fadim used 1, cool.
Yeah, I used 1. So that's 6 shifts.
That's 6 shifts. Yeah.
This is what I'm here to do. I'm going to do dutiful wind service and spend another fate point and take it to 8.
All right. So that's going to be enough that he'll take a consequence. Do you want to describe the beating that you lay down on this guy?
I think it's just I'm in on him. He's magic, and I'm punches, and just a punch, and I think he goes through one of these half-built walls that's kind of on fire, and I think he falls the 20 feet to the snowbank outside, and I just jump down and bring my knee into his sternum as I land, and I'm just laying in more punches. And right. I go, cry so the seal women can hear you.
Amazing. So he's going to take the consequence battered. There's a free invoke on that if you want to use it next time. Nice work. You can see that you're really hurting him.
Yeah. And then I will hand the initiative to Maeve.
Right, Maeve. What do you want to do?
You've already given him a whooping. I guess I'll take a few shots at him.
All right. Well, roll to attack. So roll your shoot first.
1.
All right. He'll roll his defense. All right. His defense is 3. Are you interested in using any aspects? Lol may be willing. Lol can decide if you're able to use the battered aspect.
I've got a battered that's a free invoke if you want to do that, if you're going to be building up from there.
Yeah, sure. I'll spend my last. I'll use that free invoke and spend my last fate point on changeling infiltrator for like the whole. I'm shooting and stuff.
All right. So, where do you shoot him? Like, it's not enough to take him out, but you're doing some damage.
If it won't kill him, I guess a headshot.
Okay. So he's going to take the medium consequence, shot in the head. There's a free invoke on that. Fadim, the bullet whizzes by your head as you sort of ground and pound this guy. And he looks, if anything, even more enraged as the bullet hits. Maeve, who do you pass the initiative to?
Let's see. I will give it to Bear.
All right.
Hey Shane, let's talk. I've got Faerie pokes the bear sitting there on my aspects. If you want to throw me a compel, I could be persuaded to go after the man.
Absolutely. Take a fate point.
Cool. I say, Faerie, to me, and I come charging over to charging up a punch.
All right. Well, roll your attack. So I'm imagining, because you like crash through to a different level, right? Like you're flinging yourself through the air down towards them. Roll that attack.
Yeah. So I leap through the hole in the roof and land off all fours like a bear. And let's see. I do not feel like I'm hopelessly outmatched, so I'm just gonna roll it. It's a 6.
Yeah. Let's see. He's going to take his last consequence. So tell us about the damage that you do to him.
Faerie, do you want to alley-oop it somehow? Like you were just brawling with him. What do you do when you hear me coming?
I think like I roll and get him up so that you can literally smash into him and the two of you can go skidding out onto the ice.
Oh yeah.
Like I just kind of lift him bodily up.
Yeah. And I one hand on his throat and one hand in like his sternum where Faerim's knee impacted his chest, and I'm just like squeezing him and carrying him through the wall out into the snow and onto the ice. And we roll.
So I've made the consequence skidding across the ice. There's a free invoke on that. Who will you pass the initiative to?
I think Dr. C.
Well, hang on. There's Koschei, there's the guards, and there's Dr. C.
The guards are still around.
Yeah.
There's still 2 guards.
Is Dr. C alone up there with the guards?
He can take care of himself.
Maeve might still be there. I'll pass to Koschei.
All right.
I think.
So just to be clear, when he skidded across the ice, like, did you go with him or is he out there on his own? Like, is he going to be fighting? Okay. And what about Faerie? Are you attached to his body as well as it skids out onto the lake?
No, I let Bear
Okay.
take him out there.
All right. Well, then Koschei is going to have to attack Bear, I guess. And he's going to mutter something in a language that you don't understand, something ancient, something strange. And he will roll his attack. +5.
I've bested your kind before.
Oh, he's rolled a 7 on that attack.
All right.
Go ahead and roll to defend.
I'm gonna roll with athletics. This is what Bear does. He brawls.
Nice. So that will be still 1 shift of harm.
There's a free invoke on him from the injury if you want to take that to save yourself, Bear.
The headshot, right?
You've got headshot and skidding across the ice. You can use either of those for free.
Yeah, you get 2 of them actually.
I'll use skidding across the ice. Is he making a magical attack?
Yes.
Okay.
So everything is kind of like sliding around everywhere. It's hard for him to like summon his magic. Is that what's happening?
I think he's trying to like get control, but I think that because of the slippery nature, we're kind of in a wrestling match, and it's easier for me to like knock him down and like just keep him busy, keep his hands busy. I'm just all over him.
So unfortunately, he also has a free invoke on the wound that you've already taken. So he's going to use that. He like jams a thumb into the wounded, the hurt spot.
The puncture wound.
Yeah.
Does one more consequence, would that just do another mild to me?
Well, whatever consequence you have available. So any consequence will absorb 1 point of harm. I'm not sure what consequences you have free.
So this mild with a strike through, that's not valid. So it goes to moderate next, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. So I suppose I'll spend my last fate point. I really want to invoke King of Beasts, but I just don't. I feel bad adding ripples, but it would be so cool.
Well, wouldn't that mean that you were like calling up the seal women from below the ice to help you? That
yes, it would. All right, I'm gonna do it. I'm feeling a little crazy. And I think I'm going like, this is fully reverting to the darkest place that I've been near the end of the timeline that we left, when I was like alone in the forest with most of my friends gone, blood painted all over my face. I was like barely more than a bear myself. And now I think I've just let out a roar and slam my hands on the ice, and like cracks shoot out from where I am, and I can hear the calls of the women from beneath me.
all right. So mark enchantment. Oh, sorry, you don't mark enchantment. That's my mistake. I don't think. But you invoke your enchanted aspect. So the Queen's timeline marks her last checkbox and gets her first ripple. All right.
Great. And I'll pass to, or it's his pass.
Well, he'll pass to the guards. Let's see. I think the guards have like run out after him, trying to defend their boss, and so they're also going to take some shots. Well, yeah, I think that. Well, they're not going to shoot out at you because you're too close to their boss. The ice is obviously fragile, and now like you invoked King of the Beasts, so now these like women are like cracking through the ice, right? Like leaping up, shattering the surface of the frozen lake all around you. So they're going to try and take out Fadim. They will roll an attack using shoot. So for Fadim, you'll be rolling to defend using athletics.
Oops.
Right. So you'll take three shifts of harm.
Yes, I will.
All right. And the guards will pass the initiative to Dr. C, who, I mean, if you don't engage the contest this round, then that's going to count as success for the site, for the land, as it tries to take you away.
Yeah, I think Dr. C is horrified what he sees happening on the ice. And but he tries to, he's a strong-willed guy, and he's not going to run out there, and he's going to instead take the last of his Molotovs and run towards the kitchen door and like empty all his Molotovs into the kitchen.
All right. So go ahead and roll to overcome using, well, athletics or...
Sure. Let's see. It's a 2.
All right. The construction site will roll to transport you to Faerie. That's a 4.
Okay.
You want to let it have its first success?
No, we're close here. I'm feeling blood.
We've got that more fire boost we've got to use.
That's true.
We got the more fire boost. I can use that one.
So that will only bring you to a tie. You'd still need to invoke an aspect to succeed.
And let's see. What I want to invoke is what fools these mortals be.
I mean, if you can tell me how.
Just because we are crazy to be even attempting all of this against impossible odds.
Yeah.
And use my last fate point on that.
Like the fools on the tarot card.
Yeah,
you know?
Exactly. That's the last of my fate points.
And you're spattered with chunks of burning gingerbread as they like fly as everything explodes. The land that had started to like shake and rise from the earth starts to sink back down and collapse. Koschei lets out a howl of anger out on the ice. But you have destroyed the Gingerbread Church. I assume that someone is going to want to finish off Koschei here. So who do you want to pass the initiative to?
Let's see. Let me just take a look at the order again. Oh, it's anyone. It's a new round.
Yes.
May I ask to go so I can set Bear up?
Sure. That sounds great. I'll pass it to Vadim.
Then I think what I would like to do is go out there, run out to the ice, and like I'm just smashing ice to put Koschei off balance, and to let Bear have the advantage there. I just want to try and create an advantage with physique, essentially just kicking, breaking, sending things flying.
Yeah. Go ahead and roll with physique, and he'll defend with athletics.
So that is a 3 right now.
So he's tied you, so I think that will give you a boost.
There you go, Bear.
All I need.
What do you call the boost?
His ground is cracking.
Yeah, all right. And you pass to Bear. So Bear, what happens?
I think my pupils are fully dilated, nearly all black. The ice is cracking more around me. Anyone in the building can hear that sound where, like, the whole lake, you can hear the reverberations of the cracks, and it's like the call of the deep. It sounds like a monster kind of. It could be the land creature talking as its surface is being shattered. And I think I have kind of Koschei sort of under me, and he's scrambling around trying to evade me, and I'm just leveling punches at him, and he's dodging all my punches, but they're all just burying into the ice. So it's like, whether I hit him or not, his doom is approaching. And I think like the seal women below are like frantically scrabbling at the ice at this point. And I think there's a moment when Bear's eyes connect with the woman that he fought with when he first went beneath the ice, and he sees her for a moment, and again, like, his empathy takes over him, and the black drains out of his eyes for a moment, and like Koschei almost gets the upper hand. But I think with the beastliness left him, he just levels one more punch at a break in the ice and cracks it, and I think they both tumble down into the water, and the women just go after Koschei.
Well, wait for it. Let's roll it first and see if that's what happens. So rolling an attack
with no fate points.
Athletics, I guess.
But I do have a boost.
All right, he's going to roll to defend.
Woohoo!
Oh, that will be enough to take him out. So it happens exactly like you described. The ice cracks, and the rest of you see them disappear down into the ice. I don't think we need to roll to take out the guards. You disarm them, you disable them, to kill them, whatever it was that you were going to do.
I imagine Maeve can finally turn her full attention to taking out the guards with awesomeness.
Yeah,
they're probably following you, Vadim, as you go out onto the ice, right? Because they were just shooting after you. So,
all right, and we're just going to leave the scene there, I think, unless there are other things that you want to do. The Gingerbread house, church, the site, everything is burning down. The bodies that you've left there will be, taken out in the fire, hard to identify. Bear, I assume, is like clambering up the sides of the frozen lake, having left Koschei to be devoured, presumably, by the women of the lake. And you have successfully resolved your first event. So we have a process to go through to see how the timeline changes. Now, let me see. So, the Queen.
Did we get any more resistance checks this time?
Also, let's check on that. So
I
you
thought
get
we had.
Yeah, so you definitely invoked a timeline aspect and succeeded on a roll. I remember that happening. And you have definitely foiled one of the Queen's minions for another checkbox, which will be enough to get you to your first ripple. And then that clears the timeline. And you get one just for finishing the event. So you've got one that you'll be able to roll over into the next event. The Queen started the session with 3, and I believe, unless there's something else, okay, no, a minion of the Fairy Queen certainly did not achieve a goal. So the Queen ends the session with 1 ripple and 3 invokes. So now what we do, also, this first thing we do is change the event that you've just worked through.
Can I ask a question before you do that?
Yeah.
So are they just if, like for instance, if it's on resistance, it says if a player invokes a timeline aspect and succeeds on a roll, is it just once, or if we did, because I did that twice.
You did it twice, we'll take another checkbox.
Oh, okay. So it's every time we do that.
Mhm.
Okay. Yeah, I did do it twice.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah. So the more often you can do that, the better it is for the timeline. So one thing that you can do here at the end of an event is rewrite the timeline aspect if you want, to reflect the changes that you've made in the timeline. Do you want to, so the timeline aspect for the Gingerbread Church is the enemy of my enemy is my friend ? Are you happy with that, or would you like to change it in some way?
Unless we want to make it more specific about Baba Yaga, I think it's worth leaving there because it does represent that Baba Yaga doesn't like the Fairy Queen.
I like it.
All right. And then I decide if we should change any of the catalysts ratings. So I'm going to move Koschei from a negative to a neutral. You haven't taken him out, but you've made him less dangerous. And the Gingerbread Church from a neutral to a positive, because they're from your point of view. So you prevented the Gingerbread Church's construction. That's a net win for humanity. So that's how the current event changes. But the future. So we have 2 ripples to apply, one positive and one negative. And so a positive one will change one of those either from a negative to a neutral or from a neutral to a positive on one of the future events. You can put, since there's only one of each, you can put it wherever you want in any of the events that haven't happened yet. But you should think about like fictionally why that's the case, why it makes sense that something has improved for you in the future because of what you did here. Does anyone have a thought on where they'd like to apply that?
I'm a little confused about where it would be applied exactly.
So see, so for example, if you look on the timeline track tab, you'll see that each of the events, well, most of the events have 2 neutral and 2 negative sort of catalyst ratings. Do you see where I'm looking for that?
Yeah.
Or the Rise of the Fairy Queen starts out with just 4 negative catalyst ratings. So you can apply your positive to change a neutral to a plus or a negative to a neutral. And that just reflects like how bad or good that thing is for you. So a positive would be something that's either trivially dangerous or even positive for you. A negative is the worst it can be for you. And a neutral is, somewhere in the middle.
Yeah. So it's worth bumping up the like ratings on that final one, on that Rise of the Fairy Queen, because that's going to be the big end game. It's worth bumping those up.
So are people happy with that? Kyle, you were going to say something?
Oh, I was thinking it might make sense to make that like the foe option, like all who love the Queen, human and inhuman alike, a little bit less bad because we took out one of the Queen's enforcers.
Yeah,
I like that.
That makes sense to me. So I'll change that to a neutral rating. And let's see, I have a negative ripple to impose somewhere. Let's see.
You make the owl's head devil even worse.
Well, I can't. That was my first thought.
I really
but
want to.
Yeah, I mean, I think it does make sense that the Owl's Head Mountain is now going to be a little less friendly and safe for you. So that will add a negative timeline, negative ripple there. When we do this, you can rewrite the catalyst as well. So if you wanted to change the name of All Who Love the Queen, human and inhuman alike, then I think it makes sense that, you know, that's still the foe, but it's a little less dangerous than it would have been otherwise. And so we have changed the future in both good and bad ways, which is what we would want. Before we finish up, just remembering you also have a major milestone here because you've completed an event. So have a look at the end of session advancement tab and what you can do with a major milestone. So you all gain a point of refresh. That's the first thing. If you wish, you can rewrite your high concept to reflect the ways that things have changed you. Any consequences you have that aren't yet in recovery, you can rewrite them to reflect that they are in recovery. So the aspect that you created, the consequence doesn't go away. Well, I guess it's quite likely that they will have by the start of the next event. And you can increase the rating of 2 different skills by 1 step, just bearing in mind that you can't have more skills at a particular level than you do at the level below. So you're welcome to take some time to think about doing that now, or you can, you know, I know some of you were thinking about making some changes to your characters between sessions, so you might want to do that before you decide how to apply your improvements. And I think I'll just end the recording here and we can talk about stars and wishes and think about improvements.